morning, everybody. This is Tamar Jameson. I am here with Ebonique Barber of 4QL Logistics. And we are here to talk black business. So let's talk black business with Ebonique. Ebonique, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tamar, for having me.
Really appreciate you being here this morning.
Yes, sir.
So if you would, tell us a little bit about yourself, your business, kind of what you do.
Correct. So good morning, everyone. I'm Ebonique Barber, owner of Fourth Quarter Logistics Solutions, and you'll hear us use the acronym 4QL Solutions throughout the interview. A little bit about myself. We are a local business here in the greater Atlanta area. We service mainly businesses with their local delivery needs throughout the greater Atlanta area. And we specialize in the delivery of parts, products, documents, supplies, and equipment.
She got that to a T. Did y'all hear that? All right. Nice and precise. Tells you exactly what she does. Name of the company. Boom. So take that to heart, guys.
Yes, sir.
So, Ebonique, what made you start the business? How did you get into logistics?
So that's a story in itself.
Okay.
Logistics specifically, I guess why I started the business would be I have a passion for helping people, and I wanted to do something that directly impacted the customer's experience. And that ties in just from my heavy experience in customer service.
Okay.
About 4 or 5 years ago, I went back to school and I studied supply chain management. Now, originally I was going for accounting. That changed because I started realizing that everything that my work experience embodied, it was inside of the organization. So with supply chain came logistics. And I'm like, interesting. I'm always talking about customer service, impacting the customer's experience. What can I do that directly touches the customer? And that came with logistics, the delivery aspect. In starting the business, that wasn't the initial goal. It was that wasn't an initial goal at all. I think what happened was during that transition of going to school and already having that real world work experience, it was kind of a situation of, you know what needs to take place. You know there's a gap in this area. Do you want to work with someone to perfect it or start your own and implement it? Okay. And I bit the face of fear and started my own to implement it. Okay. And so with that being said, with the logistics standpoint, we represent businesses for their delivery needs. And that's kind of how all of that tied in. So it wasn't, wake up, hey, I'm going to start a business. It was kind of a journey, and it was kind of a debate with it with my own self. And then from there, just kind of went forward with it.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah.
We've talked to several different entrepreneurs who have taken different routes. Some were born, they felt like they were born to be entrepreneurs. Some decided there was something that happened in their organization or the company they were working for and really kind of pushed them into entrepreneurship. So that's a very good point that you made where you saw a gap and you saw a need that you wanted to fill.
And I think it was the timing too, because at the time I graduated, I wasn't the typical graduate. Of course, I didn't go to right out of high school. Okay. So you bring that wealth of experience, and then now this newfound education, and you're marketing yourself to employers in a different way, to where maybe it's like, okay, we'll start you off in this kind of role, and I'm like, no, I think I'm kind of ready for this, and and if I can't get that, then I'll create it. So that's kind of how that took place.
If you can't get it, create it. We might have to coin that.
Oh, okay.
All right, perfect. That's a good point to make, though, because entrepreneurship and business ownership usually arises from creating something that you see there's a need to be filled. Correct. So another reason why I'm here with Ebonique is because logistics is something that you don't hear us doing. Correct. I've never met anybody in our community, a black-owned logistic company, a black female-owned logistic company. So I want to give you kudos, first of all, for being in a space that nobody else is in. Okay, because it's paramount and it's very important, guys, that as you create a business, as you grow your business, as you transition in your businesses, that you realize that there is a niche that you need to serve. And the narrower that niche is, the less competition you have, the easier it is for you to succeed. Correct. Okay. Now, of course, you do have competition.
Plenty.
Okay. So explain to us, because most of us have never heard of any logistic company that we can sit down with and talk to the owner. Who is your competition, and how do you handle competition?
So I've learned to not really handle competition, but most importantly, handle the customers. Okay. logistics is everywhere, and there's plenty of customers for everybody. That's how I look at it. In terms of competition, when I initially started, the biggest comparison I would always get was you're competing with like FedEx or UPS. Mm-hmm. Those are beasts of their own. They cater to international, national, and domestic. So in no way are we competing with them. We're offering businesses with local delivery solutions, and that's been around for generations, right? Here in Atlanta, there are quite a few different variations of logistics. You have actual companies that are like myself that are couriers. You have some that are more on the tech side. They provide a platform for independent contractors to be able to access, and that's how they perform the deliveries. Okay. And then you have companies like myself where we're employee-owned, meaning that our drivers go through full training, whether it be safety, background check, drug test. We do driver training, we do customer service training because that's imperative to a business's brand. So for me, the competition, yes, it's out there, but I truly believe once you dig deeply into what you're specifically wanting to deliver mm-hmm. or what you're specifically wanting to provide in a level of service, it kind of weeds out that competition aspect.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
So,
for sure.
But it is a large territory. Mm-hmm. Another thing with logistics is it's different variations. You can do the, cargo, courier, but then you can also go into the 18-wheeler aspect mm-hmm. and possibly ocean, possibly air. So it just depends on what area you want to penetrate. And for us, being that courier standpoint, we directly are that face to that customer, which is where I wanted to kind of impact right now. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So piggybacking off that a little bit, mm-hmm. who are your ideal customers? Give me one or two, or if you have a set of customers who you mm-hmm. prefer to deal with, and then maybe there's somebody out here who might want to call Ebonique from Forkua and say, you know what, I need that.
Yeah, definitely. So we work with a variety of businesses, but I like to say we focus primarily on the medical, print, and auto industry. Okay. And primarily they require a lot of confidential, quick, efficient transports, and we're able to provide them with that service. But we've also assisted legal, meaning attorneys. They require not only fast and efficient delivery, but tracking. And so kind of going into our features, we now have a booking portal to where the customer is able to go online, register, save their addresses to a book. Mm-hmm. That way you're not having to constantly type in new addresses. We have attorneys, maybe they have an Atlanta office, Sandy Springs, and then they can just save it accordingly. Right. Sandy Springs office. To go a step further, we've now implemented an app, and it allows them the ability to do that whether they're on vacation or here in the office. And then to take a proactive approach to wondering where your delivery is, we offer live tracking. Okay. So there's no need to call or have to enter in a long tracking number. You can actually follow the driver on the map. Wow. And those are implementations that I, not only as a business owner, but as a customer, saw, okay, this could create ease mm-hmm. across the board for a business. Right. Some of those features aren't as important to some as others, but it's necessary to at least be able to provide it. Right. And that's where we fall.
I hope you guys are understanding what's going on here right now. Ebonique is giving you some real good nuggets about being an entrepreneur, not mm-hmm. just a business owner. Mm-hmm. And one of the difference between an entrepreneur and a business owner, mm-hmm. a business owner owns a business Correct. That they typically have to work in all the time. Mm-hmm. Okay, you hear Ebonique mention, competition. Mm-hmm. She mentioned employees. Mm-hmm. She mentioned training. Mm-hmm. Okay, all of these things come into entrepreneurship, and you can see why I wanted to have her on the show because this is a true entrepreneur. So I want you guys to really understand how to run an organization, run an enterprise, Correct. Okay, and not just be a business owner. You have to start somewhere, obviously.
Have to start somewhere.
Okay, but then you want to grow to a point where you Correct. Are starting to hire people, train, mm-hmm. Put in systems and things like that.
That's important.
Awesome.
That's important. Yeah. Even with the hiring, I think you brought up a good point with specifying entrepreneurship and business owner. Mm-hmm. Because what happens is maybe we want to do it all. And that was my fault, I think, in the beginning. Okay. Holding on too long, thinking that, they can't do it like me. Uh-huh. And that attitude and that mentality will, as I've learned, not only from just piggybacking, and I like to say Monday football, reflecting, but just, from mentors and different people that I'm speaking with, even, like yourself, Tamon, you gave us great points throughout our networking events, mm-hmm. Being able to establish a system in place and bring people on board that value that system is the only way to grow. Right. So that's what I'm incorporating.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. Unbelievable stuff. So, You mentioned this a little bit, and we kind of alluded to it a little bit. So at what point, was there a certain day or time or action that happened that made you flip the switch and say, okay, now I want to be an entrepreneur?
Yeah.
Or was it more of a transition?
No,
how'd it work for you?
it kind of happened. It was very interesting. During that time, we had just migrated over to Atlanta. So, of course, I'm from Houston.
Okay. Congratulations on the Astros winning.
Of course. So, but in coming to Atlanta, one of the questions I asked myself, okay, was I going to start the, position, or was I going to start the business? And I would be very honest to say I did not. I've always had entrepreneurship in me.
Okay.
That's just, I'm the eldest, and you always try to find ways to make money at an early age.
Right. Legally,
Whether it be babysitting or anything like that. And even to the young people that are having that as a business, I ran, this is off topic, but I ran across a teenager, he was about 14 years old, loved to DJ, and he actually presented me with a business card.
Nice.
And I'm like, that was just beautiful. So
right.
That's off topic. But to go back to what you're saying, with the idea, okay, do I want to start the business or do I want to start a career? I think it was really one of those situations, like I said, at that time I wasn't getting a lot of traction in the position that I wanted. And it was a situation do you keep, what do? You're at a rock and a hard place. Do you keep applying, or do you go into a position that you're really not interested in, or do you use all of the tools and experience and skills that you have and just go ahead and move forward?
Right.
And so it literally went from me telling Jonathan, of course, I was like, I really think I'm going to go in this direction and create the business plan. Didn't have a budget for a website, so I built the website, and it was like all of that just kind of happened within a short time period, probably a couple of months.
Okay.
Named the company because I wanted something that kind of captured, and for me, I'm a sports fan, so
okay.
I feel like that last quarter really shows you who is there to show up and show out.
Okay.
And that's where we come into place with delivery. So it was a situation to where, yes, it wasn't something, with this long, elongated plan. It was a situation to where do I want my experience to be best utilized and appreciated.
Right.
And for me, it was in my business.
Gotcha. There's a couple things that you said, Ebonique, that I really want to kind of piggyback on. One, I've heard you use the word experience about 5 or 6 times already. Okay. So I really want you guys to understand the importance of experience. Okay. When you are out talking to your clients, prospecting, networking, doing whatever you have to do, the thing that sets you apart in the beginning is your experience level.
Correct.
And the reason I bring that up is because I've met a lot of people, and I want to make this clear, when people are talking about multiple streams of income. Okay, so we've all heard that, and we understand that that's a way to build wealth, is to have multiple streams of income. But multiple streams of income is not you working in 5 and 6 different jobs.
Yeah.
Okay. I've heard people who say, I'm a real estate agent, and I'm a travel agent, and I sell products on the side, and I do this and I do that. Okay. When you are in that kind of space and doing that, you can't gain experience in any one thing.
Correct.
So if I come to you and you say, okay, well, I deliver packages and I rotate tires and then I drive a train and I do,
you lose traction, right?
I don't know if I really want you delivering my packages because you got too much stuff going on.
Correct.
So I want you guys to understand the importance of that word experience. And if you don't have it now, take the time to build that experience in that one lane.
That one lane.
Right. Be that expert in that lane.
Be that expert and create multiple avenues out of that.
Exactly.
So
exactly. The other sources of income need to be passive. You don't need to be working in every single source of income.
Of course.
But build that experience. So that was very paramount. I wanted to make sure that they caught that and that we really capitalized on you saying experience, because you kept mentioning that. And you talked about schooling. You talked about your experience level. So, you can use your education as experience.
Definitely.
Coupled with your real world experience.
Definitely.
As experience.
I mean, experience is whatever I believe you have passion for and persistence to do. So, I mean, for me, the education part, it was something that I wanted to, accomplish. But I learned a lot about what I'm doing now in what I've learned.
Right.
So it eventually helped. But I know people that, maybe have a totally different educational background and doing something totally different. And sometimes we say, well, they're not using their degree, but techniques are typically clear across the board. So those are priceless. Use those and go with it,
right.
So.
Wow.
Definitely.
All right, Ebonique. So tell us some of the successes you've had as an entrepreneur. What would you say are some of the things that you're happy that you've overcome or accomplished since launching your company?
I would say getting out of my own way.
Okay.
I think that's maybe the most generic statement that can take place, but it's real.
Okay.
And I say that because with the business and starting the business, we're excited when we have that idea. Mm-hmm. We're excited when we get that first customer. But you've mentioned throughout this interview, working in the business doesn't necessarily promise growth.
Right.
So for me, stepping back and creating a process, I think process is once you have that is gold. Mm-hmm. And that's something that we learn everywhere. But, in supply chain, they focus like on Toyota, Walmart, Amazon's, their supply chain approach is so universal. That process is so concrete, it's able to be marketed anywhere, right? So for me, getting out of my way, creating a process and allowing the business to take its own lane while I take my own as a business owner to learn and be able to feed it back into the business.
Right.
Yeah.
Y'all better be writing this down. I can say this because Ebonique is breaking some heat this morning. Okay. I would definitely say that. And you talk about experience. We kind of go back a little bit because you mentioned some of the companies who have set up processes. Okay. And when you said Toyota, that really brought me back some 20 years.
Yeah.
Not only that, but when I was in college, we studied Toyota. That was 20 years ago.
See there.
We studied Toyota, and you think about it, it's still one of the best process companies in the world. They started that total quality management.
That's right.
Where they were able to kind of really check the quality while it was being built.
Correct. And move it through that line.
Right. And that's 20 years ago, and it's funny,
relevant,
we're talking
right?
about it now. So, when you have something that really works, and we go back to that niche again and that experience, they've been doing that for at least 20 years. I know because I studied it for 20 years.
Correct.
And it's still working.
Still working.
Okay, so processes and experience. We're getting some good stuff from everything this morning, so definitely appreciate that. I want to back up for a second because you talked about the company name for a minute, and I want you guys to understand the importance of naming your company for those of you who are either transitioning or maybe trying to start a business and you're thinking about what to do to name your company, how to name the company. Tell us a little bit about, I know you talked about your sports background and how you love sports, but really dig down to why 4QL.
I say I'm a sports fan, but some would just say I like LeBron.
Okay.
And that's true too. But no, I really enjoy a good game. I like it when they fight until the very end.
Okay.
So it was I think that was 2016, the All-Star game where Cleveland, I think LeBron was on Cleveland at that time. I remember they were losing to Stephen Curry. And then Golden State should have already won.
Right.
But they kept coming back. And when I saw the way they fought to the very end and they won, I remember sitting there watching that game, and at first we were thinking of girly things to name the company, like Unicorn Logistics or, something really girly. And I'm like, no, fourth quarter, that's where you find the fight. That's where you find the grit and the determination to continuously win.
Right.
And so for me, that's where it came about, fourth quarter logistics. Now, some may say, okay, why fourth quarter logistics and not fourth quarter courier? Because I've heard that as well. And some business consultants may say otherwise. For me, I saw the vision. I know where I would like the company to go. And I know there's possibly better to name something more narrow and specific, which is what some consultants advise. But for me, I like that. There's levels to logistics, and hopefully we're able to incorporate it all one day.
Right.
So that's kind of where the body of the name came from. Just simply loving the sport, watching the game, and seeing that determination.
You're making me expound on everything you say because it's so meaty. The stuff you were saying. So I'm gonna try to keep this short, but we talk about the fourth quarter logistics, and you talk about driving and pushing to the end.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm talking about naming it something girly, and I'm just going to use your term, naming something girly, which would have probably taken you out of contention with some customers.
Correct.
All right, a unicorn logistics, you may have some people who may not taking you seriously.
Yeah.
All right, and also when you talked about the fact that you were looking long term.
Correct.
And thinking long term. And you were saying, okay, I could have named it courier or logistics, but I had a bigger picture.
Correct.
Okay. I want to let you guys know and really understand and appreciate what Ebonique just said, because think about a company like Burlington Coat Factory. Okay. They branded themselves and they made a business off selling coats.
Correct.
Now, if you've been watching TV at all here recently, you've seen their commercials where they're actually saying, basically, oops, we made a mistake.
But look at us now.
We're shifting gears. Stop calling us Burlington Coat Factory. Just call us Burlington.
That's right.
Okay? So if you are too narrow in the beginning, there is a time where it's going to be hard for you to grow.
Correct.
Or you're really going to have to spend money shifting all your branding, changing your name to make sure that now you are fourth quarter logistics instead of fourth quarter courier service.
Correct.
As you grow, maybe you decide you want to get planes and you start going ocean and stuff like that. Now you're no longer a courier.
Correct.
You're a logistical company, and you're like, okay, well, I really have to change my name. I got to get new logo, branding, all that stuff has to change. Okay, so think long term, guys. Make sure that you're really thinking beyond selling in your local area.
Correct.
All right, and 2-3 years down the road. If you want a global enterprise, name it like it's going to be a global enterprise.
Correct.
Okay.
And even if you get talked about, who cares?
Right. They'll be talking about you on your way to the bank. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're talking about fourth quarter and pushing to the end, pressing on, and really just not giving up.
Yeah.
Okay. What are some of the challenges that you've had to overcome where you said, you know what, I can't give up right now? And I'm glad as you look back that I didn't give up. You can just pick one because I know that face is like, where do I start? Okay.
Yeah. I would say the challenges that could come and not, knowing which direction to take would be really just staying true to what your original goal is.
Okay.
Like I said in the beginning, I remember going to this networking event. I had literally just started the business. I mean, didn't even have a customer yet. And had my little business cards. I remember, she was like, why would you try to compete against FedEx? And I'm like, I never said that.
Right.
This is just, where is this coming from? But it's funny because sometimes people will try to put you in a box or put you in a different segment. And if you don't have that tough, thick skin to push through adversity, then that could be a problem.
Right.
But just stay very true to whatever it is that you're going out there to do, regardless of the outside ears and mouths. And I figure that approach would be just fine.
Right.
So for me, I think that the main challenge was, again, getting out of my own way.
Okay.
And I say that because in starting the business, it's logistics, it is, it's a different territory, it's a large market, you hear all of these different, FedEx, UPS, DHL, those are national carriers.
Right.
So for me, just staying true in what it is that I'm trying to do, I know that I have what it takes to be able to achieve it. I know that I offer a level of service that businesses can depend on. I'm going to push through with it.
Right.
And after having that and honing in on that and owning that made it easier to overcome that challenge.
Right.
But I would say that just getting out of my own way was a challenge.
Okay.
Yeah.
So getting out of our own way and staying true to the vision. Okay.
Correct.
Very good information.
Okay.
Now, if you could start over at any point, if you could go back a week, 6 months to the inception of the business or before that, what would you have done differently? What advice would you give somebody now that you've been on this entrepreneurial journey for a while? What advice would you give to somebody based off what you would do differently?
What I would do differently. So I kind of like the way my journey went with working first and then going to school. I ideally wanted to go to school, of course, prior to, but it happened that way. And I think that set me up for here, where I'm at now. So I would say that to anyone with any entrepreneurship desire, even when I brought back up the babysitting, as a child, maybe you're babysitting one or two kids, you can turn that into a profitable business. So I would say that whatever your skill is, whatever your expertise is, and whatever your passion is, go for it. Go for it and create a plan and act on that plan. And that just kind of hones in on what you mentioned about multiple streams of income, having 5 or 6 things, but working in it. But if you have a plan in place, and you act on that plan, then it can grow into this beautiful tree.
Right.
So to my younger self, or to anyone out there that's young, I would just say go for it, create that plan, and act on it. No one can stop you.
Good point. Good point. Okay. Now, Ebonique, this has been phenomenal, first of all.
Thank you,
Again, thank you very much for sharing so many different nuggets with us. For those out there who are maybe aspiring entrepreneurs, or they're looking to grow a little bit, what overall advice would you give to them to encourage them?
Surround yourself by like-minded individuals.
I know you've heard that before.
You've heard that before, and it's when entrepreneurship is scary, but it's even scarier if you're around people who don't understand the journey or don't understand the path.
Right.
And I've learned that over time. Just in our weekly meetings, that's one of the things I enjoy. We're around like-minded individuals with a shared goal. So I think that that's important, especially starting out. You want to be around people that can support you, or at least offer some level of support in your journey.
Again, I know you've heard that.
Yes.
Okay. And if you haven't,
Here it
kudos
is.
to Ebonique to give it to you for the first time. And I will definitely piggyback off what you said, because it is hard to live this entrepreneurial journey if you're doing it by yourself. Okay. If you can't talk to anybody else who understands the plight that you are on, what you're going through, some of the challenges that you're going through when the customers aren't coming, or they're not paying, or whatever you're going through. Talking to somebody who gets a check every 2 weeks, they don't quite understand what you're going through.
The hunger.
Yes. And being hungry sometimes, you know. So that's a very good point. You really need to surround yourself, not totally with entrepreneurs. You still got to have your friends, you still got to have family, you still got to have a balance, but you need to have some people. A mentor is important, but even outside of that mentorship, you need to have some people around you that you can talk to. They don't have to be in your space. Okay, they just need to understand the journey that you're all on together of building a business. You know? Very important. Right. Full-time entrepreneurs. Okay, because if you're full-time, they're full-time. They understand.
You understand the hard, the hard parts of it. Of course, it's all good and gold when. You got all these customers, you're at capacity, but that takes time, so that early stage, even I'm still in early stage, you're still out there promoting, networking, encouraging, and engaging. That's important. You got to have people that understand what you're trying to do. Otherwise, they'll just say, why are you doing that? Right. I wouldn't do that. Well, of course you wouldn't do that. You're not doing it. So that's important. Right. So we're going to wrap up and get to how people can get in touch with you, your website, social media handles, things like that. But before we get to that, I want you to share anything that you would like to share with aspiring entrepreneurs, specifically Black entrepreneurs and or Black female entrepreneurs about being in business as a Black woman, as, a Black individual, and then you can wrap that up with how they can get in touch with you. Okay. I would say to all of those aspiring entrepreneurs, I would just definitely say just stay true to what it is your passion involves, and just go for it. Just do it. It's very simple to say, but it's harder to do. So just do it and act on it and follow that plan. And know that for me, I'm a firm believer that if the seed is planted, it'll grow. So you'll be just fine. Go out there, take care of it. God, family first, business second, and have some balance third. For me, I'm Ebonique Barber, again, owner of Fourth Quarter Logistics Solutions. You can reach us at www.4qlsolution.com. On there is our contact phone number, email, Facebook, as well as Twitter. We look forward to possibly assisting you one day, but if you feel the need to just reach out and want coffee or just to chat, don't hesitate to do so. Thank you so much. And again, I just want to let you guys know, you heard how she kind of ended that with if you just want to chat. That's right. What we just talked about was having a network of people who understand what you're doing. So I really thank you for really letting the folks out there who are watching this know that they can reach out to you as a resource. Correct. All right. This platform is set up as a resource, and it's not just about doing business. Now, of course, we want you guys to do business with Ebonique, or if you don't, we want you to refer somebody who you know who can do business with Ebonique. Correct. But
this platform is about being a resource.
Correct.
You know, whether this video is a resource, whether what she said was a resource, or whether just, you know, her telling you a little bit about 4QL, her journey, and what she's trying to do could be a resource, or her reaching out and saying, look, let's just have coffee. Let's talk.
Let's chat.
Call me. Let's sit down if you got something that you need to talk about. So, Ebonique, I am more than appreciative of you sharing your story with the Let's Talk Black Business family. I want everybody to continue to monitor the platform. There are going to be some new things coming out here in the future that you're really going to love. But in the meantime, let's continue to talk black business.
Great.